Hey everyone, this is Mr. G Stuff here today, and I'm going to be showing you a new session I'm going to have on my YouTube channel, and that's going to be Cinema 4D tutorials. And let me guys know what you think of all these tutorials, and I know if I should be uploading more or not. First of all, I'm going to be just doing basic tutorials for now, and once I know you guys start liking it, I'm going to be doing intermediate and advanced tutorial for all those that want to do advanced stuff on here. So let me know what you guys think, and that would be great. Anyway, the first tutorial I'm going to be showing you is the basics of Cinema 4D, which are going to be the shapes, what kind of stuff you can put on the screen, presets, rendering, all those little stuff, just tiny stuff, you know, how to go through the Cinema 4D. What I want to point out first off is on the bottom right corner of the screen here, you have attributes or project settings, and first off, if you don't have this, you can go to the edit up here at the top left corner and go to project settings, and it should appear down here. Right here, it's you can access this anytime, but it's really nice because you can do frames per second. Like if you're doing a video on here where you want to do some slow motion on your video editor, then if say you want 60 frames per second, so it's a smoother slow motion, you can increase that up to 60. Of course, you'll have to do in all the keyframes and stuff, which I'll show you in another tutorial. You can also, for the default object color, you can do 80% gray, which kind of looks white, gray blue, and then your own custom color, as you can see here. That's whenever you bring up a preset image, that's the color it's going to show up. So first off, what I want to show you before we start anything, I'm going to insert a cube here so I can show you how to do basic stuff. To insert a cube or any preset shape they have on here, you're going to go up to this little square here that has a blue square inside of it, 3D blue cube, my bad, and you're going to left click and hold till this pops up. And you get all the kind of preset shapes they have in here. You got cube, sphere, cone, cylinder, and so on. You even have a figure in here. Just a basic figure, nothing special about it. But for now, I'm just going to insert a cube. Also, if you just click it, you also get a cube. Now you see I have two here, so I'm just going to select that and delete it. Anyway, as you see, I just have a cube here. So anyway, if let's say you want to rotate the screen to look on the other side of the cube, you see this on the top here of the display screen, there's a circle with two arrows and the dot in the center. Well, if you click that and then you move your mouse while still holding it in, move your mouse around, you can rotate around, up, down, whatever. You can 360s or whatever. As you can see, I can go look on the other side now and let go, and you're there. If you want to move left and right, up and down and all that stuff without rotating, you can click this little other button which is next to it. It's 4 arrows with a dot in the center representing 4 directions. So you hold and click that, and then you can go left, right, you know, all around right there, but you're still looking at the same side. So you can see it's just going off the screen here. Still looking on the same side. Alright, I'm just going to look over there. And the third one up here is zooming in and out. Let's say you want to zoom in and out of the object you have here. There's an arrow. There's another thing up in between the two I just showed you. It's an arrow, two-sided arrow, one that looks like it's going far away and one that looks like it's coming closer, which means zooming in and out. Now if you just click that and move your mouse, I think it's either left or right, depends on how it does for you. Mine is right is closer, left is further away. As you can see here, if I move my mouse right, it gets closer. If I move it left, it gets further away. Or in some cases, you could have the object selected, and you could use your roller on your mouse to zoom in and out. I mean, see, you get little steps right there. It means you miss a few. So if you want to get that's too close, but that's too far. You just take that arrow and just get it in between right there. You know, a little touch up on the zoom. This other thing up here I want to show you is looks like a tiny square or just a window. Basically, it's a window. So if you click that, you get 4 types of different windows here. You got your perspective, which is what the default. Then you got the top, so it's the top view of the project. These are all going to be one dimension, just one dimension. See, top, front, right, respective is all 3 dimensions. Or, I don't know, I'm not like a scientist or anything. Anyway, you got top here, you got front here, you got right here. If you want, let's say you want the left or you want the bottom, let's say I'll take the top. Let's say you click camera on that respective screen, and then you get choices here. You got perspective, parallel, left, right, front, back, top, bottom, military, frog. I don't know what this stuff down here, dramatic, I don't know what that is. But as you can see here, I got bottom. I can select bottom. Of course, right now it looks the same because it's just a square. So I'm going to take that back to the top. You can do all for all 3 of these. Now let's say you want to go into one of these screens as the full screen. It takes up the whole full display screen. You just go into whichever one you want, and then you're going to click the same window, that little square button at the top right corner of it, and it'll make it the full display screen. Now let's say you wanted to go back, you click that square button again, and there's perspective, which is the best for editing or little shapes or whatever. You can just click that again, and let me zoom out of there for you. There we go, and we're back in here. If you see here, there's all these grid lines and everything. That's just an outline or a basic for you to start off of. If you were to put in, let's say, a flat shape or a floor, it's going to be even with these grid lines. As you can see, they're going in the middle of the square. That's exactly the middle of the square right there. If you put in a shape, it's going to go through exactly the middle. The top is going to be right on top, half. Anyway, next I'm going to show you how to move an object. As you can see, if you have an object selected, see right now I just deselected it. It's not letting up around the corners or edges or anything. And up here in the object windows, it's not yellow. Well, you can either click the object, or you can click it up here in the objects window. And you'll see these arrows here, 3 arrows. Red means X, the red arrow is X, the green is Y, and the blue is Z. These are your axes right here. If you click and hold them, you can drag them along the X-axis, Z-axis, and Y-axis. Well, if it turns yellow, you know that one is selected. Sometimes they'll be really close together, and you'll think you'll have it selected, but you have another one selected at the same time. Like, see here, I have all 3 selected. That's by selecting this cube in the center here, which actually gets smaller as I zoom in. Didn't know that. If you select this cube in the center here, you can freely move it. Now it doesn't move far. As you can see, there's a yellow line there, which shows where it started off. It doesn't really move towards the camera that much. It moves down and up, but it doesn't move towards the camera. You can go left and right. Kinda weird angles there. Anyway, the next step I want to show you is all these little options up here at the top where I got the cube. As you can see, this blue cube square right here, is you hold and click it. You got hold and click. You get all the shapes like I told you. And the next one next to it is it's like a blue squiggly line with a plus at the end. If you hold and click that, you get basic 2D shapes, like a circle inside, which is let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6-sided. There's a 4-sided. There's a star. There's text, but that's not 3D text. I'll show you that later. You get helix. You get a cogwheel. You get a flower. You get looks like an H, but they call it a profile. And then you get freehand, which you can just freely draw zigzags, and it'll make it like a, just make it there, and you can make it 3D from there, which I'll show you how. Anyway, let me select something here. I'll select a circle, and if I zoom out of here, let me rotate this. As you can see, let me move this cube out of the way. As you can see here, we have just a 2D circle, nothing special about it. It's an outline. That's it right there, just an outline. Now, let me delete this square so we don't. Alright. Just an outline right here, and if you render this out, which is what it'll show you what it'll be like afterwards, there's nothing there. It's just black. I'll just click to get out of that, and now I'll show you rendering next, how to do the rendering, the basics of rendering. Let me select that circle again. You see there's nothing special about it right now, but you can make it into a 3D object by putting it into a category with something else. Right now I just want to show you, let me delete that real quick. I'm going to insert that cube back in there. Like I said, I just clicked that. I forgot to mention something. Whenever you have the object selected, and you have these 3 arrows here, most likely you're going to have these tiny dots by each arrow. Sometimes you won't get them, and I haven't figured out why it doesn't do that yet. But if you click each little dot, click and hold, you can drag it in and out, making that side bigger. As you can see, for a square, it just makes that side bigger. Click this one, it makes it taller, makes it wider that way. If you were to have some shapes like a circle, if you click and drag that little square, it'll just make the whole thing itself bigger, because there is no sides on the circle. Next is this little square up here on the top here. It has a green, looks like a green sphere inside of an outlined cube. If you left hold that, you get some 3D features. These are what can make objects 3D. Extrude NURBS, which makes it basically a basic 3D structure. Lathe NURBS, I haven't really figured that one out yet. Loft NURBS, you could have, works best with 2D objects, like I showed you with that circle. If you have a circle and then you make another one and move it just a little bit in front of it, it'll connect them into a 3D object. Sweep NURBS, I haven't exactly figured that one out either. You can experiment on your own. Right next to that is what looks like a star made out of green cubes and a white cube in the middle. If you left and click that, you get all kinds of different options. Like I said, I haven't really gotten into this as much. I will, though, before I do the advanced tutorials. Well, I have used Metaball right here, which lets you have, let's say, 5 circles, and you have them all inside of each other, let's say, and you move the one circle out of the other circle, it'll like morph out of it, like it's a part of it and it's splitting away. It's pretty cool. You'll have to experiment with it. Anyway, the next option right here is like a purple quarter of an arc or something like that. I don't know, but if you select that, you get different action. Oops. Let me undo that. If you select that, you get different actions you can do to an object, like you can make it bend, and you can select how much it bends. There's twist, how much you can twist. This is a good way to get abstract images if you want to make something abstract. Twist, bend, and what was the other one? There was melt. I used those before. Some of these I haven't used. You can experiment with them. Shatter's a really nice one. It makes it shatter down to what thinks is the ground. And if you put it in ground, it makes it really cool. You have wrap here, so let's say you want to wrap some text around something. It's a little difficult. It's best around a sphere, but you can try it yourself. If there's wind, you can add some wind, but it's best if you add a wind attribute to it, which I'll show you in a bit here. So there it is, basics right there. I haven't checked out what this camera is here. Not so sure what that is. Anyway, let me undo that. The next part right here, right to the right, of that is, looks like 4 arrows going in directions with a white light in the center there. Well, that's exactly what that is. If you left click that, you get lights. You got light here, you got regular light, you got a spotlight, you got an area light, you got an infinite light. These are all kinds of different lights. They add different lighting to your objects and everything. So you got sky here, and you can change the sky color. You got sunlight. Sunlight's more like a orangish color. I don't know if you ever seen like sunset, sunrise. It's like an orangish color. You can add a floor, which is really nice. Like if I add a floor here, I just want to show you guys real quick. Like I said, it's even with the grid line, and it's halfway through the cube, as you can see here. Let me undo that. Alright, and you can also add a camera, which is really nice, which is used in a lot of stuff. Let's say you don't want to, let's say, oh, this is a really good view. Well, I'm going to click that camera. You can see there's a green line at the top here, coming down the edges here. Well, if you go over to the Objects menu, and you see Camera, you'll see this tiny square. Instead of this green check mark where the cube is, you'll see a tiny black square with a dot in the center. Well, if you click that, it turns white, and that's where the camera is locked. That's where it's going to stay. Now, if you move, like let's say you use that move action I showed you at the top right corner here, while the camera little square thing is white, it'll move that camera, and that's where it's going to be. Now, if you deselect that little white, that little square that's white now, it'll turn black, and then it's best if I select the cube. And then move around, you can see that the camera is still where I left it. You can see here there's a little camera right here, and it shows the view right there. Now if I go back in and select that square again next to camera, it goes back into that view. That's best for if you want to get out of that view and edit something on the other side or something like that, and then go back in it and say, oh, okay, that looks good, or oh, I need to change it up, let me go back out there. So anyway, I'm going to select that and delete that. The next thing I want to show you is right next to where that light was up at the top here, there's another one. I think I'm not too sure, I haven't used it too much. It's like a little green thing with little white bubbles come out of it. If you left click that, you get all kinds of stuff. I haven't really used them that much. You get an emitter. You can emit stuff coming out of an object like you want. If you set it right, you can have little circles coming out of the top of this square or something floating out of the top. You got destructor, rotation, turbulence, friction, attractor, deflector, gravity, and wind, which I told you about before, which is really good, and that's really easy to work with. So is gravity. I've used that before too. The other ones I haven't really used much. It's a little difficult for me. Like I said, I'll try to learn it before I do advanced tutorials. Now I come out of that there. Let's see, what's left here is there's the renders. There's the render settings I want to show you real quick. If you see here, there's three little cubes next to each other. 3 squares, my bad. In a section here by themselves, there's this, they look like, I don't know what you call them, like those video clip things you use for like action at the movies when they're making movies. But the left one here anyway, that's just by itself. If you click that, you get what the object is going to look like at the final project. You get what it's going to look like at the final project. But right now it's nothing because we haven't added really anything to it. If you click anywhere, it's going to come out of there and you can go back into editing mode. The center one is for doing the final, like bringing it out into either a picture or video, however you're doing it. So if I left click that, it's going to render it, which I have no idea where it put it. Probably shouldn't have done that yet, and that's what the final project looks like. Press X, get out of there. Before you do that though, it's nice if you click the one next to it, which looks like one of those little clip things with a chart behind it. So if you left click that, you'll get in all your render settings. You get your general. You can mess with this yourself. I'll maybe show people my own settings for, let's say I did my intros. You go to output, you can put your width and height. You know, if you want HD, that's 1080 by 720. What frames you want to be and everything. If you go into save, which is very important, there's this file option with should be blank. If you select these three dots, you can tell it where to save and everything. Like I do mine on the desktop most of the time. Maybe you have a folder or whatever and you name it and save it. Format, you can either make it into a photo format, or you can make it into a video format. Like you got AVI movie here, and you got QuickTime movie. You can also have a Photoshop picture format, so you can take the picture and put it into Photoshop and with no background or anything. You also got alpha channel, what makes it that black that I showed you with the cube. That black won't be there if you put it in, let's say, Photoshop. It'll just be the cube itself. I'll show that in another tutorial. You got depth, name, I don't know what all that stuff, experiment. You got all these stuff, multi-pass, anti-aliasing options. You can do that all on your own. If you go to click this effect over here above render setting, it says right there, you get different kinds of other effects. My favorite, if you scroll, look at all of them and everything. There's lens effect and object glow, which are pretty nice. My favorite is global illumination, which makes it look more realistic. And you got your global illumination options here. If you go to iridescence cache, I think that's pronounced, you can make it either high, medium, or low. But the higher you make it, the longer it takes to render. Anyway, if you don't want it on right now, you could just uncheck this box that's next to global illumination and it's not on. If you want it back on, you can turn it on. Anyway, let me deselect that. We'll go out of that for now. I'll show you some other time. Another thing I want to show real quick before I finish is not just moving an object and resizing it, but also rotating an object. Like, let me change the screen so I can. Okay, there you go. Let's say you want to rotate the object, but you don't want to rotate the screen. If you go to the top left here on the palette thing again, you got the last section on the left, which is the controls for the object. First off, you got this undo and redo, which I'm not going to redo right now. And then you have this arrow inside of a circle, which is selecting, which is a selection type object. I'm not too sure. You got these four-way arrows, which is used for moving it, left, right, up, down. Then you have this square next to that with another 90-degree square or something like that in there. And you see those arrows become cubes. This is used for resizing. Now, I think what this does is it resizes the whole object. Like on the cube, you have these tiny circles, which are still here. It resizes that side. Well, if you have it in this resizing tool selected, you click and hold one of those squares, it'll resize the whole object itself, as you can see there. The next is the rotating tool. Right next to it, it looks like a circle made of two arrows. If you click that, you get a rotating sphere right here. If I rotate this around, you can see the other sides of it. Basically, there's a couple ways to rotate it. There's the red, green, and blue. Like I said, that's X, Y, and Z axis. So if you click and hold one of these strips, let's say I'll click and hold the red one, you can rotate it. If you move your mouse around, it'll rotate that object. I'll click and hold the other one, rotate it the other way. Click and hold that one, rotate the other way. Looks pretty cool, right? Alright, that's pretty nice. There's a whole bunch of other tools you can use. If you go to the top here, you got your file add up object tools. You click there, you got all kinds of different tools you can experiment with. Well, I'm not going to show you with right now. One more thing is if you want to add color or material to an object, let me get that rotating sphere off there. Okay. Color and material to an object, we want to make it look maybe, let's say red. We want to make this look red. Down at the bottom here, you have a materials section right here. You'll say file, edit, function, and texture under that. You can either go to file, new material, and you'll see this square here with a sphere inside of it. It says Met for material, or you could just double click anywhere in this empty space here and it'll make a new one. Let's say, let me delete that new one real quick. Let's say you have this material here and you want to, right now it's just nothing's there, it's just default grayish kinda. So if you double click that material, you'll get into how to edit the material. Right now let's say there's color, diffusion, luminance, transparency, reflection. Right now we just want to make it red. I just want to show you guys real quick. Select color, make sure the checkbox is checked. If you can see, there's color right here. And now if you select this square right here, you can get into this whole big thing of selecting whatever, blend in whatever you want. Let's say I'm going to make red. As you can see, there's this little arrow. You click anywhere you want, press OK, and this turns red. Now let's say you don't want a sphere, you want to go off of, let's say, a cube, like I have a cube in there. You can right click that sphere and select cube, and now it becomes a cube. It's different for certain types of materials you use, like textures, as you can see down here. It might be different if you have a sphere here and it looks good, but once you put it on the cube it looks weird. So it's best if you put it on the object on a material editor and be like, oh, that doesn't look good, let me change it before I apply it. Alright, anyway, we got that red. I'll exit out of there. Now you can either do two things. You can either click and drag that material, click and hold, click and hold and drag it onto the object itself, like so, and let go. Or, let me undo that, you can click and drag it under the object's window and put it onto the cube, and you'll see a down arrow with a plus sign. That means it's going to become part of that cube, and you let go and it turns that object red. You can add all kinds of different materials. As you can see here, I'm having like 6 right now. You can have so many. You can change them all and everything. Well, that's about it for now. Next tutorial I might show you how to animate an object, how to edit an object, like make this square. So I can take, let's say, delete the one face, or make it into mini squares and make the squares poke out. You'll see. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought of this tutorial, and hopefully you guys liked it. Hopefully it helped you all, and comment, like, subscribe, and have a good day.